I guess this goes for both of you guys. Obviously, Shaq and Rams have been scoring lately, but they were plagued by foul trouble tonight. But you guys still were able to hold them off and win comfortably. I guess just talk about the defense that y'all had tonight.
Who?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think the coaches did a great job in scout. They had a great game plan, containing certain players like Kobe Brown. Like I said, he's been playing the best out of anybody in the SEC. So doing a great job of containing him. Guys like Tyler and Cam. A lot of players stepped up and accepted the role. So
We'll go to Steph to the player's right.
Tyler, you had that alley-oop late there in the game, kind of, almost put the game away there a little bit. You were obviously pretty pumped up after that. I guess, what was it kind of like, seeing that crowd reaction, and I guess did it kind of come all, full circle for you being, coming to Mississippi State and having a moment like that?
Oh, yeah, so I just like bringing the excitement to it and when the fans do it, I know it helps us out. So when the crowd get like that, I know it's going to give us a little bit of juice to go out there and play even harder for them.
We'll go to the front row middle with Robbie.
This is for Tolu. We'll talk about those free throws. I think the first 4 SEC games, 11 to 33 is what I had. Last 7, 29 to 44, I think. You doubled your production there. What's been the key for you? Is it just getting confidence, staying in the gym, and what's been the biggest thing for you to have that success?
just staying consistent, staying in the gym. Shout out to Coach Miller and Coach Jans. Still trying to perfect the shot and just hold my follow through. So, yeah.
Okay, we'll go to the players left and Danny P.
Although just on that same thing, just overall your play, 25-plus average in the last 2 home games. What's been the difference, do you think?
Man, I just know we got a home. We at the home stretch of this thing. We got goals we're trying to reach. We're trying to get to the tournament. So I just feel like whatever it takes, whether I score 20 points or 0 points, as long as we get the win.
Go to the players left and Theo, and then we'll go back to the camera wells.
The last few games, TCU, this game, you guys have been able to close out. What do you think changed for this team in terms of being able to do that, finish out games like you did today?
Steve, why don't you take that one?
Well, I think we just been locked in more in practice, paying attention to detail and scout, us playing hard and competing against one another, and we making it translate to the game. And I think that's what really helping us pretty big.
Go back to the cameras and Grace in the flannel.
You hit 1,000 career points tonight. Did you know that was something that you could have accomplished this game, and what was it like hitting that milestone?
I didn't know.
At Mississippi State, yeah. 1,000 at Mississippi State.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, it was great. Like I said, I'm happy for the accomplishment, but I'm more happy for the win. So
We'll stay back in the cameras, and then we'll go back down front.
Kind of talking about what Steph said about just the fans tonight were crazy energy that they brought to you guys. What do you think the hump adds to your playing and being at home? It seems to be a strong advantage for you guys as a team.
Steve, why don't you take it?
I really think that gives us a real adrenaline boost. Like, it makes us want to go even harder, makes us go 10 times harder for real, and we just pick up on it and feel the juice from it and just keep going, playing hard.
Tolu, for you guys that were here last year and, you were on the bubble most of the season, I guess just how motivated are you guys, with the opportunity you guys have in February to, boost that resume, and like you said, try to get back to the NCAA tournament?
super motivated. I've never been, so there goes the motivation right there.
So we're kind of back to that question about the crowd. You've been here for 4 years now, and you guys have played in some big games before that only had 3,000 or 4,000 people here. What's that mean to you to have important games in February and to hear the home like it was today?
Man, it's a big shout out to the fan base. A big shout out to Coach Jans. He did an amazing job of getting the fans here, and we love it every second of it. They're very electric, and it's like a 6-man out there, so we love it.
Tolu, y'all had that stretch where you lost, I think, 7 of 8, and a lot of those games were close, like Theo was saying. I mean, how were y'all able to kind of keep your composure and make sure that this season wasn't lost and you got on a streak here with 3 straight wins?
I say it's more so leadership from the young guys and the older guys. Talking to Coach Jans and just knowing that, hey, we are a good basketball team. We just got to stay with it, stay consistent, and good things are going to come, and they have been.
Steph, wrap us up.
Tyler, for you guys playing alongside Tolu and the numbers that he's been putting up recently, I guess just how much confidence do you guys have? If you need a bucket, you can get it down there to him.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, it's great playing with Tolu because I know Tolu's gonna do his thing. He's gonna go out the rebound. He's gonna kill on offense, the defensive side of the ball. I already told him this, but I think, well, no offense to my other players I done played with in the past, but Tolu, the skilled big man I ever played with, and I'm happy to be playing on side of him.
Coach, you talked a lot last month about being able to finish out games. think you guys got up by 15 points, and then they made a 10-0 run and cut it to 45-41, but your team responded, I think, with a 13-1 run to pretty much put it away. Just what was the difference there, and what was kind of said in the huddle?
You know, we obviously had both our point guards in foul trouble. Certainly they start together at the 1 and the 2, but Shaq's, plays the 1 when Rams ain't in there. And it wasn't ideal. We had to try to manage it as best we could. And I thought DJ Jeffries and Cam Matthews did an excellent job with some funky lineups that we don't play very often. And, at one point I had Shaq out there with, 7, 8 minutes left maybe, and I turned to Miller and I go, we're playing with fire, with that much time. And so we just subbed them out and put our trust in the other guys that they could hold it together. And they did. But we didn't really talk too much about, closing the game out. We just talked about, trying to keep with what we were doing and stick with the game plan. And there's a lot of possessions left in the game.
Was that the first time this year you played Tyler, Cam, and DJ at the same time?
I'm not that smart, that, Paul. You'd have to look at that up. Talk to the guys in my office that are smart. They can tell you that. I don't know.
Go ahead, Steph.
I think you mentioned at the TCU game, Tyler had that and one. He got super pumped right in front of the bench, and you said you like kind of seeing those emotions from him. He had that alley-oop later today. Super emotional again, pumped up after that. I guess. Well, what's it like kind of seeing him come into form and be really engaged in these games? It seems like
he's playing really well for us. He's given us that spark. We talked about Shaq coming off the bench earlier and giving us a spark, and now that he's a starter, Tyler's almost assumed that role. Not that we could have predicted that, but he obviously didn't play as well in the fall, and I knew he could make shots for us, and you can see he can defend and rebound and compete at a high level. And when you miss shots like that, it's really easy to lose your confidence. But he's playing with his confidence now. I couldn't be more happy for him. He's obviously a local kid that is living out somewhat of a dream to play for Mississippi State, a team that he grew up watching. And he was having a great career at Southern Miss in our state, and then he was able to come back for 1 year. Now for him to be so happy, he's not a kid that smiles a ton, but he does when he makes the big plays, and he lets his emotion out, and I love seeing it when he does that.
Let's go to coaches left and Theo in the front row.
Yeah, Tolu said after the Auburn game you hired yourself back as his free throw coach. What have you thought of his and the team's performances at the line lately?
It's a good decision, right? He's gotten better. Again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but Tolu deserves everything that he gets. He is as hard a worker as I've ever been around, and that's some tall corn. I've coached for 31 years, coached some unbelievable players, but I did say he's as hard as anyone, a harder worker. He spends time on his craft. He cares about his craft. He cares about his individual and team productivity. And when he's not in the game, he's as good as we have in terms of being vocal on the bench. And when you get a guy of that stature that's about the team and not, worried about him not being on the floor for whatever reason, is willing to do that, that's special. That doesn't happen that often, and that's really special, and I'm real proud of him. And but I'm telling you, he's put in hours and hours on his free throw stroke and his game, and it's paying off for him.
Go second row to Brian, and then we'll go back down front to Robbie.
Tolu was asked about defense and said y'all had a good scouting report, but that's not what holds a team under 30 points under its season average. Just defensively, what was working for you guys today to be that effective?
Well, first, tip of the cap to Coach Brooks. He had the scout, and I have a ton of respect for Coach Gates and their staff. I've known him a long time, a big fan of his personally. He's done a tremendous job in his first year at Missouri. I mean, their crowds, their record, their style of play is very unique. It was the hardest prep that I've had since I've been the coach here, in terms of just they play a style that you don't see very often. And not just with the trapping and the pushing and the running, the small ball. They basically start two forwards at the same time, and they'll bring in some fives off the bench and play a little more traditional. But they just never let you relax. They mess with you when you take the ball on the side out, no matter where it is. And underneath the inbounds, they play a funky little zone that goes to man. They played some zone in the half court tonight, which they don't do a ton of. but they just never let you relax. They just keep pounding on you, and they're just like a nuisance, if you will, and they just basically rely on you breaking down mentally and physically and just saying, hey, just take the ball. And that's why we're one of the leading turnover teams in the country. But I thought our guys had great intensity and focus from the get-go. They were really good in preparation for this game. I felt good leaving shoot-around today about where they were at in terms of their focus and understanding. Like it ain't about what the coach knows, right? You can watch film till the cows come home. It doesn't matter. It's about what they know when the ball is tipped, and Coach Brooks and the rest of the guys did a good job of making sure they knew what we were trying to do.
When the team loses 7 of 8, you've lost so many close ball games.
I don't remember that.
How do you keep this team focused to kind of rebound the way that they have and get these 3 big wins in a row, and now moving forward you're looking to build on that as well, but they could have very easily folded during that time, and it seems like they've really kind of rallied here. I mean, what's been the secret to all that, you think?
We never once talked about in a row. That never came out of my mouth to the team. I don't remember saying that to anybody, people I talked to outside of work, people at work. Obviously I knew, but we never talked about it. And after the TCU win, I talked to the media, I talked to the team, and it was fairly emotional for me because I was so proud of them. The answer to your question is they kept working. They didn't start pointing fingers. They didn't listen to any noise about, you should be doing this or coach should be doing that. And I'm sure there was some of that. And I think it's a testament to who these guys are, how they feel about one another. Hopefully a little bit of a belief in what we're trying to do, not only with this team, but in our program for the long term. And I was as proud as I've been of a team in a long, long time because it was hard. It's hard. And I kept telling them we're a good basketball team. I don't care what the in a row is. We're a good basketball team, and I think we're going to get a chance to show it if we can stick together, block the noise out, and keep working, and they did that.
Let's go to the second row and Jack.
Obviously, it was another monster performance from Tolu tonight. I guess these last few games. I guess have you kind of seen him use that size to his advantage? Tonight and I guess TCU last week.
Well, it was set up for him to do that. They play, like I said earlier, a couple forwards a lot of the game, so he was going to have an advantage around the basket. You can't be great at everything, and their style of play is press, trap, play up and down, lots of possessions. We had to pick our spots. We wanted to take advantage when we thought we had an advantage offensively to push the ball and make plays and get easy baskets, but we didn't want to get into a track meet with them either. But because of that, every time we got into the half court, we were all like, we got to get as deep a touch as we can. We have to own the paint. That's got to be our land. We've got to get rebounds. We got to attack. We got to get the ball into our bigs, either get to the line or get some and ones. But I thought everybody, not just Tolu, but I thought especially in the first half, they understood what we were trying to do and executed it.
Go back to the cameras and Grace to coach's left.
Tolu attributed much of the attendance tonight to your efforts of getting people to come out. What has it been like to watch that attendance grow throughout the season and then to see it stay consistent with the sixth man?
We're just appreciative of the Bulldogs coming out and supporting this team. I didn't know what to expect when I arrived. I've never been here in terms of a game or a venue, and they've been very, very receptive to us. I think our guys are good guys. You guys that interact with them, we have good people, and they're out there and they're interacting and they're building relationships, and we're an advocate for them to be our biggest reason why people come and watch the games. Like everyone wants that. We talk behind closed doors about doing your part, and I think that they do. And certainly my staff and I have made it a point to try to build relationships with the student body, and I'm glad for all the people that show up, but certainly our students, I think, have been over the top with their consistency, and they're getting into the game. Before the game, I had talked to Neil Price and said, in the shoot-around, I said, the hump needs to do what it does today. The hump needs to do what it does today, and it did. Certainly our defense helped, but it was rocking there for a while, and we had some big runs. They had to call multiple timeouts because of it, and they were a reason why I think they were a little bit off shooting the basketball tonight.
We'll go back down the front and Steph.
You mentioned the crowds and kind of the energy that they brought to the games. I guess, with the understanding of how important, all these games that I think you said a few weeks ago, it feels like every game's a must win. How does your team kind of balance the energy that comes with playing at the Hump with also the pressure of knowing, how important each game is?
We don't put that kind of pressure on them. I don't sit there and tell them this is a must win or the significance of what this win would do. I think they know it, and I've said in the fall, and this isn't coach speak, it's the truth. Like, we approach every game like it's a Super Bowl. I don't care who we're playing, November, December, January, February, March, because when you get into those big games, you know how to do it. They know what it's going to feel like. They're going to know how urgent we are in trying to get them the information to get on the court. So, and I know some of you are probably saying internally, yeah, right, this team, that team. I promise you, we watch the same amount of film. We have the same type of focus. It's pretty routine-like. It can be, maybe some people think it's boring. Fortunately for me, I still love to watch film, but we don't talk about that. They know the significance of what these games mean with social media and what they're accessible to, and we just talk about trying to play our best.
I guess to follow up with that, I guess just how excited is the team, knowing that there's still an opportunity left in February to put together, I think this was a quad 2 win, to kind of put together a resume and have the NCAA tournament hopes, still there despite, some struggles early in the season?
You'd have to ask them. It's not something that I pose a question to them. I just know they were excited to win. They had a joyous locker room, a lot of smiles, a lot of fun. They're excited for having another day off tomorrow, which I'm sure they'll use wisely. But we're in a good place. And like I said earlier, I don't want to keep going back there, but it's not like we were in an awful place when we were going through that streak. We really weren't. It was hard. It was really, really hard for all of us. But their daubers were up. They were receptive to coaching. They were coming into practice every day with the right mindset. And now they're getting to reap the dividends of it.